I truly don't believe anybody is self-made.
Oh yeah.
I don't think anybody is self-made. I think they are a product of the people around them.
I think if you're out there listening, you got to ask yourself how many of your friends and people you spend time with are for the comfort and the fun versus how many are for peak performance or accountability.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we show you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode where we talked about the difference between hoping for a better future and working for one, planning for one, preparing for one. Today, for episode number 480, we're getting up there.
480.
We are going to talk to you. Don't interrupt me.
Sorry.
We are going to talk to you. No, you're going to start it all over again. No, just kidding. How to find the right accountability partner and or peak performance partner.
Right.
So peak performance is not nearly as sexy
as
accountability. And if you're emotionally driven, you might see peak performance and say, I don't think I want anything to do with that. An accountability partner is kind of the same thing, honestly.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
It is very, very similar. So first I want to provide some context. So why are we doing this episode? You've heard us say a million times, and we're going to say it a million more times, the people you spend time with is everything.
At least a million more.
And if you see any sort of success or evolution that Kevin or I have experienced, you know, if you were to go back to any of the early episodes and compare them to who we are today, you know, it really is the people we've spent time with and the books we've read and the things we've learned that made the biggest difference.
Somebody actually sent me a screenshot today. They recommended the podcast to one of their friends. One of their friends went back and listened to like one of the first episodes.
Oh, wow.
And she said, oh my God, this is like a game changer. This is super impactful. And he said, just wait until you get to like, they've done like 500 since then. And he said they get better. But that's amazing. It's amazing to think that even then we were adding value.
I know.
Some form of value.
Some form of value. It's hard to believe.
Sometimes.
No. It's just in comparison.
A little pain behind those eyes.
Little bit. But if you're out there and you've heard Kevin and I evolve, which hopefully you have, all of that is good ideas from other people, whether it be books or YouTube videos or speeches or masterminds or conversations behind the scenes. And if you want to get to the next level, you're going to have to get around next level people. And I'll start this off with a quick story. Oh, yeah. Next Level University, Next Level U. So I was on the phone with a client this past Saturday, and he's from the UK, and he's an awesome cyclist starting a business. Awesome dude. His name's Tim. And Tim met another one of my client's husbands. His name's Tom. He's a close friend of ours.
Tom.
Yeah. So Tim met Tom. Tom met Tim. It's a whole Tim-Tom thing. Oh, God. Try to make it funny.
We're going off the rails here.
But I was literally on the phone with Tim, and I said, honestly, I think you need another accountability partner. You need to get around more people. So I said you need mentors. So he's got a couple business mentors now that he's reaching out to and scheduling calls with. He's got me. Every week we're on the phone dialing in his business and his life. And then now he also reached out to Tom. And it's funny because I had a coaching call with his wife earlier that day. Not Tim's, but Tom's wife. And he was on the call. And I was like, hey, man, I had one of my clients reach out to you. And he's like, oh, no kidding. And he saw the email. So they're going to connect. They're both into cycling. They both love cycling. And they're both unbelievably driven. And so I was like, that would be a perfect thing. And I basically told Tim, you got to get around more people who are super consistent if you want to be consistent. And so when Kevin and I have talked about accountability partners or peak performance partners, this is something that I started 5 years ago. And I had a peak performance partner with my dear friend Nate Smithson. And we would speak every single week and go over our goals, go over what we said we were going to do, and then we would keep each other accountable, really. So it was kind of a accountability partner. And a lot of people out there right now listening might say, oh, I need that, or what might that be like? Number one, you do need that if you want to achieve big goals. I don't know anyone who achieves big goals without a team around them. There isn't. From what I can see, there's no one who's just succeeds alone. And then number two, how do you structure it? How do you get a peak performance partner? Who do you go to? All those questions is what we want to touch on in this episode.
Yeah, I think you pretty much just, set the table. I think you set the table for it. I think, like Alan said, if anything that you see here, any successes you see us having, any ideas that we're giving you, most of those, all of those probably have come from somebody else. And some of those have been either our peak performance partners members of mastermind groups, which is the same thing.
Same thing. Yep.
Right? Like, it's unreasonably important because you're going to get different views from people that you might not normally get.
Right.
And you're going to have people that are looking out for your best interests who are going to be willing to hit you with some of the hard truths of like, look, I don't know that that's the best use of your time. I don't know that you're spending your money in the best place. I don't know, how's your relationship going? Oh, that happened? Oh, maybe, this is my 2 cents.
Right.
Right? It's going to give you such a giant, not head start, but it's going to give you so much of a better opportunity. And I had a good point that I was going to make, but it left me.
Well, it'll come back. Remember when you
little
said
faith.
that when we hung out in New Hampshire, you knew it was going to be
Yes.
like personal development?
I knew that I was not going to be able to get high and hang out with you, even though I probably did. But yeah.
Probably still.
But I knew if when Alan comes up, it's going to be a learning experience.
Right.
Kind of prep for it a little bit.
What if that was like, and that's a good analogy too. I guess, can you frame for the listeners what it used to be like when certain friends would come up just to hang out and have fun versus when I would come up?
Interesting.
And then I think that's a good frame for the listeners. And then how do they attract someone who's like that? I think is where I'll go.
Both were excitement, but it was excitement in a different way. When I was spending time with friends, we were usually doing unsavory things. Nothing bad, but like we were going out to the bars and getting drunk and maybe smoking a little pot. Maybe.
The devil's lettuce.
Maybe puffing on the devil's lettuce. Maybe. So it was, I think when it was with you, it was like, I feel like I'm getting closer to the future, closer to my future. When it was with my friends, I feel like it was get comfort in the present. I think that's probably the best way. And again, I had a blast with my friends, and some of these friends have had giant ambitions come to them as well. So now when I spend time with them, it's different as well, which is very interesting. But that's what I would say. Either way, it was more business with you. Even though we weren't in business together, and even though I didn't have a business, it was more business and knowledge-based. That's probably the best way to put it.
Right. Well, I think if you're out there listening, you got to ask yourself how many of your friends and people you spend time with are for the comfort and the fun versus how many are for peak performance or accountability. And I guess the first step here to give you a tactic of how to get around next level people is exactly what we did on the phone when I was on the phone with Tim, which was, let's write this email right now. Like, I guarantee you Tom's going to be thrilled that you reached out, and you two, in my opinion, are two peas in a pod. Like, you guys are going to be great. You guys are going to help each other elevate. You guys have the same values. You have similar goals. Like, you're both trying to be next level. Like, let's make this thing happen. Let's do this right now. And we sent off the email.
I love that.
And Tom got it, and I don't know what's going to make, no, if any one of you, Tim or Tom, are listening, no pressure. If you guys don't want to hang out.
Screw this up.
Right. If you guys don't want to hang out, that's totally fine. But honestly, I think that one email will change both their lives, at least in some way. Now, it might be drastic. It might be small, just like you and Amy at the mall. That was a drastic one. But the people you spend time with is going to change. And so how do you attract next level people? I would say, first and foremost, curiosity. I think first of all, you wanted to interview me on the Hyperconscious podcast before we partnered up.
Yep.
And you know that I cared a lot about helping other people. And you knew that was an opportunity that I would consider aligned. And so you asked.
I don't even know if I consciously knew. I just knew that your current version of your life was what I wanted. That you didn't have a job. I used to see you like just hanging out by the beach, and I'd be like, what the hell is this guy doing? Or like at the gym at like noon, and I'd be like, no way.
Right.
Like, what? And you were all over Snapchat every day?
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what's going on with this? So you had a lot of the things that I valued. So I wanted to figure out like, well, what does this guy know that I don't, kind of, in a way. So it's always kind of been that relationship.
Right.
Right? Ever since the beginning. That's the reason I was attracted to you in terms of curiosity.
So what do you suggest for the listeners to do that? Because you're the best testament to that.
I know. I'm lucky. I think I'm lucky. I always say that. I'm just lucky. I got lucky.
I don't think you got lucky, though.
Sometimes I do, man. Straight up. Sometimes I feel like I got a little bit lucky. Because I know a lot of people. There's a lot of people that want Alan's attention. And like, it's like a running joke of like, I can text Alan or call Alan anytime on any day, and 99% of the time I'll get a response, probably unless you're with Emilia or, on a client call or whatever.
Right.
But like, I have talked to you every single day,
Right.
other than Sunday,
Yeah. Other than yesterday.
When we're recording this,
Yeah.
for the last 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Every single day. I have seen you at least every week.
Other than COVID.
Yeah.
Right. And even
but then I
then,
saw you virtually.
on Zoom. Yeah.
Right? I honestly think to some degree I'm blessed with that. I think there's a lot of people that vied for your attention, and I'm lucky enough to have a brand and multiple companies now with you. So it's kind of like, look, I don't care if you want to go. You're stuck. You're stuck here with me.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to go.
But I think you made it congruent, man.
I don't know.
Goals, behaviors,
Yeah, but
values,
if you-
and beliefs.
If you think about it, I don't think I consciously did that.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, okay. So how do we make it? So if you want an accountability partner, first and foremost, let's just do this. Who do you want an accountability partner with? Have it someone who's goal oriented,
For sure.
someone who's vision oriented, someone who loves to learn, and someone who loves people. That's what I would say. Now, how do you actually, once you find someone who you admire, like Kevin said about me, which I appreciate, man.
Of course.
Thank you. Now, how do you get them as an accountability partner? You have to understand what they value. You have to understand what they believe, and you have to understand what are their goals. They must believe that you can help them achieve their goals. And again, I'm going to use Tim and Tom as an example here. Tim is an unreal cyclist. Very, very good in the UK. Like, awesome. Wants to be top 10 in the nation. Okay? Hell yeah. Shout out to you, Tim. I know that Tom values cycling and wants to get better in cycling. I knew that Tim struggles with consistency and wants to be better at consistency. Tom, I consider to be world-class consistency. Did 28 triathlons, I believe, in a row. And the smallest one he did, 28 weeks in a row, was the one I did. Like that distance.
That's some savage.
Yeah, it's and then some. That's
Next level savage.
Yeah. So he's the most consistent, genuinely, the most consistent human I think I've ever met. I'll say that with 99.9% certainty. Tim is a better cyclist, in my opinion, I think, based on my awareness, than Tom. Tom values cycling. Tim values consistency and needs consistency. They're a perfect pair. They have similar values and similar goals and different core competencies, which is what Kevin and I have. And I think that every mastermind we've ever done, every accountability partner we've ever had, I'll give you another example. Nate and I, peak performance partners. I was an entrepreneur who was good at making money at the time and who rose in corporate. Nate was really good at fitness.
Yeah,
I wanted to be in way better shape. Nate wanted to make way more money. So we teamed up, and I taught Nate a lot of what I know about the economy and numbers and money and entrepreneurship and business. And he taught me a lot of what he knows in fitness. And now go figure, he's crushing it in business and I'm crushing it in fitness, depending on who you're talking to, right?
I was going to say, why don't you take it easy?
Yeah, right. But seriously. And so, it's a trip. It's basically human beings were meant to learn from other human beings. Find someone who you value, who has knowledge you need, and then figure out, what do I do an audit? What do I have to provide? What can I provide to this other person that they care about? And then reach out.
Dave Meltzer.
Right.
I was on an interview the other day, and during my it was a keynote. It was the
Oh yeah.
remember what it was called?
Power of Mindset.
The Power of Mindset. Yes, with Dr. Justin Mosley.
Yep.
So I have a part where I talk about mentors. I talk about you want to figure out your circle, right? Redesign your circle.
Yeah.
And I was talking about mentors, and I was like,
buckets?
the 5 buckets. And I was talking about, Dave and Evan. And after the interview, Justin was like, what do you mean you're mentored by Dave? Like, what does that mean? And I was like, we are on his LinkedIn Live every other week. We're on his podcast every other week. Like, if I texted him right now, he'd get back to me today probably. Right? That kind of, he's our friend at this point, right?
Oh, yeah.
Uncle Dave. And he's like, so how did that come about? And I was like, Alan. Alan did it. Alan. But
Appreciate that.
At a deeper level, Dave values people that are impacting other people. Dave wants to impact 1 billion people. He wants to find 1,000 people to impact 1,000 people to impact rinse and repeat. Right. He thinks and I think he thinks accurately that, thank you for that, that we're one of the 1,000 that's going to impact. I mean, we already have. We've already impacted more than that, right? So we fit into his thing. Now, there's fitting in and there's staying in. And I think this is the interesting thing. I'll switch off of mentors, but the reason Dave continues with us is because we are asking good questions every single time, and we bring the best of him out. That's what he says.
Right.
So we have to go in understanding, what does Dave value? Long-term thinking. Okay, Evan Carmichael's completely different.
Yeah,
Evan Carmichael wants short-term, and he wants you to ask questions about your business and the finances and the money and the actions.
Right.
Completely different.
Yeah.
So we know what he values. It's just like that with the people around you.
Right.
If you're an accountability partner and you're not keeping me accountable, or you're letting yourself down, it's going to be far harder to find people.
Right.
Right? Like, if I'm with you for accountability, I expect some sort of accountability. I want you to hold me accountable.
By your own example, or do you mean like actually holding each other?
I
think that's
both.
the other piece. Yeah, both.
I think both. I think you should set the guidelines going in of, look, how do you want me to do this?
Right.
I ask this with my clients all the time. How hard do you want me? Like, what do you want?
Right.
What do you expect from me? When you don't send me your podcast episode, do you want me to be kind of like, hey, don't forget why we started this? Like, don't slip up now. We've just starting. Or do you want me to say, hey, just a friendly reminder, the episode launches tomorrow. If you could get that over ASAP, that'd be great. If not, I can't guarantee it'll get out.
Right.
What do you want? Because that's accountability too. That's what a lot of people are paying me for.
100%.
Right.
And I think that if you're out there and you're intimidated by this idea of reaching out to someone for an accountability thing, which, by the way, is fascinating because it's like, no one's going to be upset, I don't think. Like, oh, how dare you reach out? Like, no, they're going to be excited. They're going to feel valuable. They're going to feel valued. Like, you made me feel valued by coming on the show.
I bought pizzas too. I'm sure I bought us food probably because that's what I do.
I think you probably did. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And I was late. My bad.
No, we went Chipotle. We got Chipotle in New Hampshire.
Oh, okay.
We made a day of it.
Right.
It was like, we made a day of it. We talked, and yeah, it was interesting.
I think that you can hire a coach if you want, and that's an accountability partner that you pay, or you can get someone who's, you've said this before, and I forget which fighter it was that does this, but it's plus minus equal to. You got to get around people that are way ahead of you. You got to get around people that are on your level, and then you got to help people and lift others up.
I don't remember who that was.
And I think it's a beautiful thing. Kevin and I are peak performance partners. Dave's my mentor. I'm not going in teaching Dave, unless we're talking fitness. And I have a bunch of people that are clients that I help. And it's this constant evolution of all of us can do that. I have a client who is a coach who coaches a bunch of people. And technically, in a weird way, they're getting coached by Dave. Right. Think about this. Right. I get coached by Dave. I coach this person. This person coaches them. They're getting coached in a weird way by Dave. And it's this beautiful elevation of everybody. But you got to have the courage to reach out. You got to understand what the other person values. You got to understand your own strengths and weaknesses. You got to know what their goals are so that you fit into it, like Kevin mentioned about Dave. And you really do need to play the numbers game a little bit in terms of, like, if the first 3 people say no, that doesn't mean you can't get an accountability partner. That doesn't mean you're not worthy. It just means you need to keep trying, and the right fit will come. But it won't come if you don't send a message.
And I think the other thing too is, and I want to frame this in the most gentle way I can, but certain people you may not have enough value to add to.
Right.
And I don't mean that doesn't mean you're not a good person.
Right.
Right? If we were 1 episode in, Alan and I had never given a speech, we didn't know half of what we know, Dave might not see the potential in us like he sees.
Of course.
So that's the other thing too, is like, maybe your first accountability partner isn't somebody who's running a 6-figure business, or isn't a professional bodybuilder, who isn't a relationship coach who gets paid X amount per hour. Maybe it's somebody who's closer to your level or a little bit higher. Maybe it's somebody who's a little bit lower.
Right.
So you can learn the power of leadership. There's so much to learn in every single experience.
100%.
Right? So I think that's the other thing too, is kind of tempering your expectations of, oh, I want to be mentored by Dave too. Like, cool, awesome. Right. I love that. I hope you get the opportunity to do so.
Right.
Right? But if you're looking for an accountability partner instead of a mentor, you're going to be looking at a little bit of a different level.
And I think the important piece with that is, number one, you got to understand that. But if that's not, you got to understand why someone's in the room. So what do I mean by that? So when you brought me to interview on the Hyperconscious podcast, I'm in that room to try to add value in personal development. If you're not into personal development and that's my life's mission, right, you might feel less valued by me, not because you're less valuable, but because I'm in the room for a different reason. Whereas if I go to a party and I don't drink and you're there to drink with people, you're not going to see my value, versus speaking at your World Within Live where people are there to learn. And so, you and I had a conversation earlier that I talk about with, like, finances. you wanted to learn finances. I know finances, so you valued me for that. Whereas most of the time, I don't feel valued for that numbers side of me because people don't maybe know the value of it or even know that I know what I know. And I think that that's another important piece here is like stay open-minded about a couple things. One, don't realize that your value intrinsically doesn't change just because someone else doesn't see it. And then number two, stay open-minded in terms of your expectations regarding like understand that other people have value that you can learn from, even if it's not super shiny. Or start small. Start with like a friend who you know is kind of into growth. I think a lot about Lori Harder's book, A Tribe Called Bliss. The reason I love that book isn't just because Lori's awesome, but because of the idea of a tribe. The idea of, okay, this is what a mastermind is. This is the structure. Get together with a group of 3 other girls and do a mastermind. You, me, Nate, and Matt did that early on. And
because of that book?
Because of that book. We had a 15-minute structure where we each went for 15 minutes, sometimes more, sometimes less. But that's the other piece too. Uncertainty creates lack of action. Peak performance partner, what does it mean? Do a weekly call for a half hour.
Yeah.
Do a bi-weekly call for a half hour if that's where you want to start. The key is that you start the train and you don't let it stop.
Yeah, it's so important. And again, just so Alan and I are partnering up for the podcast side of things. We're going to have a business. We have a business now called Next Level Podcast Solutions. That idea came to me from Catherine Nash.
Yep.
And T-Mac.
Yep.
They suggested that. And then it took me some time to follow through. But T-Mac literally introduced me to my first client.
Yep.
Right? So like that side of things, that is all from partners, people in my life. I think the other thing too is understand you have to drop your ego when you're in this accountability partnership or this peak performance partnership. Don't forget why you started. Okay? If this is a money-saving accountability, you can't be mad at me when I say, Alan, you spent $26 on pizza, man? Like, I thought you said you were done with that.
Right.
I might deliver it a little bit better,
yeah,
right? And say, do you regret any of the purchases you made this month?
Right.
Okay, that's what I would say.
Right.
And if you say like, nah, I loved it all. It was awesome.
Yeah.
All right. If you had to pick
McDonald's?
one, yeah, right. Hypothetically,
yeah.
If you had to pick one, what would you pick? Okay, let's do that.
Right.
Right. Don't get mad at me for doing what we're here to do.
It's going to be uncomfortable.
It's going to be uncomfortable.
At first.
And obviously,
you and I are used to it.
I promise if I was in your accountability group, I would deliver it a little bit better than that. I was just using an example. But that's the reason you're there.
Yeah.
Okay? When I work out with Matt, it's his job to push me. He does. Him being there is enough of a push because I know why we're there. Okay? That's an accountability partner. That's a good accountability partner.
Yep.
You don't want an accountability partner who's going to let you slip. Like, don't worry about it. Have that brownie. You already have that accountability partner in your head.
Yeah.
That's the side of you that says it's okay not to do the things, right? You don't need that.
Yeah.
You need more accountability.
100%.
That's it.
What do you think?
I think that's it.
Okay. One thing for them to get to the next level.
One thing for you to get to... I would say, have you ever seen Bruce Almighty? Of course you have.
Yeah. Great movie.
It's a great movie.
Jim Carrey's hilarious.
Carrey. I would say dream guest. If anybody knows Jim Carrey, I know this is a shot in the dark, but if anybody knows Jim Carrey personally, please connect us because that would be
fire interview.
The deepest.
Jennifer
episode.
Aniston's also in that.
Yes. Any celebrity is in it. Really. And, well, with good morals and values.
Yes, of course.
I would say to help people get to the next level, I truly don't believe anybody is self-made.
Oh yeah.
I don't think anybody is self-made. I think they are a product of the people around them.
Yep.
That's what I would say.
Yeah. To get to the next level, I would say you're not going to win by default. You have to create a system. And I think that having a weekly call with a mentor or a peak performance partner or an accountability partner or a mastermind member, it's honestly, it's a must if you want to succeed at your highest level. You cannot maximize your potential without other people. And, if you're going to a party every Friday to have fun, why can't you jump on a call every Friday to get better?
Fire.
You can.
Giveaway alert.
Oh.
You see that?
I do.
Yeah, what happened? You perked right up.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You're excited. I'm excited
for
as
the
well.
Giveaway.
So up until, you're listening to this episode now, up until December 1st, Alan and I will be giving away 5 $50 Amazon gift cards. We know times can be tough right now with COVID, especially around the holidays, so we want to give back. All you have to do to be entered is to go to the podcast app, type in Next Level University, leave us a review, screenshot it, send it to myself, Alan, any member of the team, just so we know who you are and your real name and persona. And you'll be entered into that giveaway at the end of the month or December 1st. We're going to be picking 5 winners. We will send those off to you, and you can get something nice for yourself, somebody you love, maybe donate it, whatever you feel to do. That's our goal, is to help as many people as we can, and that's one way to help.
Giving feels good. If you were to buy that special someone something extra special by just going and giving us a 5-star review, or however you feel, even if it's not 5 stars, ideally it would be 5.
Yeah, we got a fairly nice one a month back from somebody
from someone in particular.
Yeah, someone in particular. He wasn't a fan.
He was not a fan. But if you are a fan, please go rate us on iTunes. And also, Next Level Mastermind. So we talked a lot on this episode about how to get peak performance partners, accountability partners. There's no better way. That is where Tim and Tom met. And I think that getting in rooms where other people, think about it this way. If you're attending one of those masterminds, you're not only a listener of this show and have common values of personal development, but you're also taking the time to go learn more. That's the kind of people you want to be around, next level people. And that's the best place to meet them. We have people talking in the chats. I review all the chats after. And we have people talking to each other in the chats, and I bet you they're talking more privately than I can even see on the Zoom chats. And so come meet people at those masterminds, make it a win-win, design a tribe that's all going toward a brighter future, and that's the best way to do that.
I think if you value this episode, if you like any of our episodes, if you like this podcast, this is a different opportunity for you.
Right.
Because you can literally interrupt us in the middle and ask us a question. You can mastermind with other people. You can build relationships with other people. There's so many opportunities in there. Yes, the episode launches later or the next week, but it's not the same as being there live.
No.
Right? Watch a concert on YouTube and watch it in person. It's completely different.
Right.
We want you to be at the concert, rocking and rolling. And if you're scared, do it anyway, because it's going to be super valuable. You can turn your camera off. You don't have to ask questions. You can literally be a fly on the wall, but it's a great opportunity to get off out of your comfort zone if you're scared.
Yeah. And you can mastermind with Kevin and I. We have a featured guest every month. Please join us. We love those. Those are the best way we can meet our listeners.
They are. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed this weekend, Sunday, as they say. We have a very special guest. I think we've had him on 2 times already, maybe 3 times.
Right.
The one and only Eric Legrand's former Rutgers football player. He was paralyzed when he made a tackle, and he since then he's doing so many amazing things, helping so many people, literally does more from a wheelchair with his mouth on his phone than a lot of people do, who are perfectly capable of everything else. And he's just an amazing dude, and we can't wait to chat with him. It's been a minute, so we hope you will enjoy that. We hope you enjoyed this, and we will talk to you at the next level.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.